Hit that like and subscribe. Let us know where you're all from. Let's jump right back into it. Was Deion coach Prime Sanders a Death Row Records rapper? So, as Suge is claiming, head coach Deion Sanders looks off during the first half as the Colorado Buffaloes play the UCLA on the October 28, 2023 in the Pasadena, California. But head coach Deion Sanders was also called Coach Prime, a primetime rapper signed to Death Row Records. That seems to be the case thanks to a new revelation given by the former owner of the label, Suge Knight. Now, speaking in a phone interview from prison, or the latest episode on the Nick Canyon show on the Daily Canyon, the producer shared that back in the day when Coach Prime wanted to be a rapper, he went out of his way to bring him on board and invested over $500,000 to get him started. But things ultimately didn't go as planned when Prime allegedly decided that he didn't want to deal with a black-owned record company and instead wanted a deal with Interscope Records. And so, in addition to appearing on the Daily Canyon, Knight currently hosts his own podcast, Collect Calls with Suge Knight, when he launched on Halloween. Now, the title is more than fitting, seeing as how he's serving out his 20-year prison sentence for a 2015 hit-and-run murder committed now while filming of Straight Outta Compton, now created in tandem with Dave Mays, co-founder of The Source and the CEO of the Breakbeat Media. The show reportedly has 5 episodes ready to be banked up. Now, in a statement to TMZ, May said, "I'm so excited to be able to enlist the help of my longtime friend and one of hip-hop's most formidable, pioneering, and fearless leaders to help Breakbeat Media continue to achieve this goal." Now, Collect Call with Suge Knight will awaken hip-hop fans worldwide and build bridges across multiple generations. And then a stretch of street in Oakland, California, was also renamed for Tupac Shakur. Now, 27 years after the killing of the hip-hop luminary, a section of MacArthur Boulevard near where he lived in the 1990s became Tupac Shakur. Now, the way following a ceremony that included his family members and the Oakland native Hammer. Now, let his spirit live on the rest of these years in these streets and in your hearts. Condolences to Tupac, condolences to his family, and condolences to the people in the community around. Now, Shakur's sister, Sakia Shakur, told the crowd, wiping away tears at the end of a nearly 2-hour ceremony, that they have been waiting for years. They've been waiting for this justice. We've all have been waiting for justice for Tupac. And now we're finally getting the answers that we wanted and that we need. Now, the sign for Tupac Shakur Way was unveiled moments later. Now, MC Hammer, the You Can't Touch This rapper who spent many of Shakur's final months with him before his 1996 shooting, death at the age of 25, said in his remarks that Shakur was hands down the greatest rapper ever. There's not even a question of that. Now, Shakur, the collaborator, Money B, and Oakland hip-hop legend Too Short also spoke at the ceremony. Shakur was born in New York and was raised there and in Baltimore, but he moved with his mother to the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 1980s. He would have lived in Oakland in the early 1990s and embraced it as an adopted hometown, but things were different for him and his family. And so, in the spring, the city council in Oakland, California, unanimously voted to rename the street after Shakur. He claimed Oakland said city council women, Carol Fife, who led to the effort to rename the street. Now, he said Oakland gave him his game. The ceremony came the day after a former Southern California street gang leader named Dwayne Keith D. Davis pleaded not guilty to the murder in the Las Vegas shooting. Now, in the death of Shakur, he tried to say that he didn't do anything, but he was always incriminating himself and talking about in his books and to the people around him how he did it and how nobody can touch him and how he could get away. Now, within all that light, Keith D, he's afraid over here. He had to get a whole new attorney, and right now, everybody's looking at him and he doesn't know what to do, you know? Now, the ceremony came the day after a former Southern California street gang leader, remember, Dwayne Keefe D., tried to not plead that guilty, as I was just saying, now to the murder in the Las Vegas shooting death of Shakur. Now, a charge prompted by his own descriptions in recent years about orchestrating the deadly drive-by shooting, and I have that in earlier videos. If you go check out my earlier content, I do have the videos of him, trying to set Tupac up, even in the casino in the MGM. Check them out. Now, Davis is the only person still alive who was in the vehicle from which shots were fired, and the only person ever charged with a crime in the case. Shakur's relatives now have kept their distance from the prosecution and made only passing reference to it Friday. Now, according to a CBS affiliate, K-Pix, Sakaya Shakur said her brother died at 25 years old in gang violence, now by the hands of another black man, by the planning of another black man, now whoever that may be. And so everybody's looking at Diddy right now, and they're looking at Keith. Now, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, he went by a number of different names, but, even the MC Hammer was saying that they were saying, you can't touch this rapper who spent many of Shakur's final months with him. Now, before dying, of course, at the age of 25. And he even thought he was the greatest rapper ever to come across. They were great friends. They were great childhood friends, even growing up. And he was also a collaborator of Money B, and the Oakland hip-hop legend. Now, Shakur tried to help his hometown. He tried to help the people around him. He tried to do the good. And this is what happens. People set you up. You try to help them out. You try to look out for them. They say they're on your side, but then they turn around and they betray you. And then, things like this happen. And that's why we have some of the problems we do have in the world, because of these type of things and catastrophes that happen when people try to do good. But I'm going to keep you guys updated. Anderson could have had a major effect on the jury's opinion. Now, the video surveillance is great evidence of motive, but the brawl took place shortly before the murder, and the prosecution will be able to call witnesses and experts to establish the rivalry between Tupac and Davis Anderson. Now, that right there, like I was saying, he incriminated himself. He gave himself away. He shouldn't have gave himself away the way he did. He shouldn't have incriminated himself. He shouldn't have been snitching on himself and think he was untouchable. And he shouldn't have been going in the podcast just constantly talking, and just telling on himself, snitching on himself, and even some people around him. Now, Davis can't use the brawl to argue self-defense because he can't use deadly force unless there is an imminent risk of death or serious bodily injury shooting into an occupied vehicle that doesn't meet that burden. Now, he said Davis has made some problematic admissions that will make it difficult to counter the prosecution narrative, Rahami said. Now, he suggested that Davis may be better off accepting legal aid rather than a private lawyer given the weight of evidence, but lawyers don't like to lose, especially if they're not getting paid. And anyone in private practice who accepts this case is going to want to make sure they are paid up front, he said. Now, public defense juicy news, keep checking it out. I'm going to keep you up to date. Hit that like and subscribe. Let us know where you're all from.